Hello, welcome to our garden podcast. So today we've come over to Ollie's house. Ollie predominantly gardens with cottage gardening, but there's a slight twist in the tail, isn't there?
They're starting to be, yeah. So I've always been into bigger leaves and like ferns, and I've got the acanthus in there, which was when I first arrived to the garden anyway.
You've got the beginner as well, haven't you?
The beginning is there. I've taken that back quite a bit because I was literally spreading the whole of what is now the first stage of the hot border. So I've taken that back to probably a quarter of what it was before. But the big leaves interest me. I think when we went to Gardeners World Live in the summer, what was that, June time?
Yeah, it was June, yeah.
That's when you sort of suggested getting an ensete, which is now, as you've seen on the shorts and stuff, probably has got 7 or 8 big leaves, and I'm starting to really.
You're happy with it, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm really happy with it.
So much so you bought a second one, didn't you?
What was the one? You bought me a second one.
I bought you a second one,
and that's now in. And I bought a canna as well, quite a well-established canna yesterday at a boot fair. And that's gone in, and now the canna and the ensete is in. The other banana, what's the other one that you got me? Is that an ensete?
That's an ensete, yeah. I think where it's been in a polytunnel, it's had less sun, so it's got a slightly greener leaf.
Right.
If you give them more light and more sun,
it's starting to get a red tinge now.
Yeah, up to the next full leaf, it'll start to redden off. Yeah.
So, excuse me. So on that hot border, it's now kind of a mix of jungly type bits amongst obviously predominantly cottage style. So I'm really happy with it. And next year, like we just said before filming, next year, you all say about next year, but actually in my head, in my mind's eye, I kind of know what that border's going to start to develop into something quite special. And now, hence, obviously, we're doing this section here today.
Yeah, so the hot border, where Ollie's just talked about, it leads up to this area where we're stood now. When you get to the top where we are, we've got the oak tree there. We're surrounded by leylandis. There's some sort of pine there. There's laurels to the back as well. So it's quite heavily shaded, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's something that when I started my jungle garden, wished I had. And you're quite lucky in the respect that you've already got this here. But I think where you've started your little mini journey into the bigger leaf tropicals, you're getting a taste for it, and you're starting to. I mean, after the WWF fundraiser we did last weekend, highlighting the rainforests and things like that, it's kind of sent him on a path, isn't it? I think.
I think so, and I think we've always known we've had this permanent shade area at the back of the garden. You know, this oak's 35 years plus, I think, speaking to the lady next door.
Yeah.
So that's obviously really well established. Everything around there is very well established, as you can see. It's literally like being in a woodland, isn't it? And we're so lucky. The shed looks great up here already. But my idea now, so this section here behind where we're standing is going to be, so the shed's there, there's going to be a pathway through here, and then we're going to do a big shack here. So where I'm standing, this whole section here is going to be a nice rustic shack. So we're going to obviously start with the floor work, and then totally from scrap wood build a shack of my own.
So you want to use reclaimed timber, things like that?
Totally reclaimed timber. The only thing I'll be using is the materials, screws and bolts and brackets and stuff. But in terms of the timber, will be totally reclaimed. So I'm not going to buy any new timber at all. So it's going to be things that people would have burnt or scrapped. So obviously it's totally sustainable in terms of that wood source.
I don't know if you can make it on the camera. You probably can if I move out of your way. So there's a concrete base here which has already got the small shed on it. You're yet to decide what you're going to do with that shed.
Not 100% sure yet.
So we're going to leave that there for now. But if we follow around here, there's a concrete base which I presume you think was a greenhouse.
Oh, I reckon it must have been a greenhouse, probably even prior to when the oak was here, because you wouldn't have a greenhouse under an oak tree, would you?
No, I suppose not.
Because the sun's not going to get to it.
And it has got a soil floor, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not a solid floor.
So it's literally the outline of what would have. I'm not 100% sure, but it's definitely not from a garage or a shed, because it would be a solid base.
I think you're probably right. So leading on from that, this will be effectively your new floor space, or your perimeter.
So I'm going to use the outline of where the concrete base is goes all the way around. So I'm just going to use this section to beam across and do my floor. Again, the beams are going to be reclaimed, everything is, and use that as kind of the guide to how I do it. The step, there's a concrete step here. So this is a step up, and I think once I've dug this away and leveled it, it's probably about a foot step maybe.
Okay.
I mean, you can see once it sort of comes up from
it is
from
quite a drop off, isn't it?
Yeah, where the soil was built up over years. It's once that's dug away and flattened, this foot here is going to be the bar.
Okay.
So a natural step up. So the bar area, if you like, will be here, and then obviously you'd step down. Barman would step down.
And I remember you mentioning 2-3 weeks ago, having where the bar is, the back of the bar, having like an open window, effectively.
Yeah. So we're going to have. I've tried to source a big window to get the greenery and the woodland in the back. So when you're in the bar,
sat down
in the bar, you're going to be looking out permanently, and this is woodland. Evergreen. So it's a permanent evergreen woodland backdrop through the window, and it will look like it's like AI, I think, but because it will look that good. I think it'll look that good.
I think it'll look really effective, yeah.
So yeah, I can't wait to get started really, and that's going to be sort of through the autumn and winter. We're going to get that built together, aren't we? You're going to help me, yeah?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I'll keep the tropical influence coming, and I think it's going to look really good, and it's going to suit the end of that border. And it's going to, I think it'll draw your eye from the back of the house, from the back of the house, it'll draw your eye to the back of the garden. And I think once that tetrapanics and the setes next year really start to leaf up and size up, they again will be pulling your eye to the back, which you will then have your feature cabin.
Yeah.
And I think it will really work, especially like we say with the backdrop and the canopy above.
Yeah,
which I'm really envious of, because it was, like I say, it's something I really wish I'd.
And it because it's so established, it's not something you can just get overnight or from a garden centre.
You can't.
It's
you can't
like
buy.
Woodland,
you can't buy this.
We're really lucky to have it, and I think having it, I'm wasting the space as it is.
Yeah, because you've used it. I mean, you've got your compost behind the camera. There's a couple of compost bins, but it is predominantly used as a dumping ground, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. A dumping ground / somewhere where the kids come and find bits and pieces that they play with and stuff, and it's a bit of a waste. So the kids are still going to have a space up here with the swings and a couple of bits for them to do, but all in fitting with how it kind of looks in my head. So nothing like plasticky or do you know what I mean?
Everything like timber,
natural looking stuff. Yeah, and obviously, so this whole back section. So behind the camera, as we're talking to you, it kind of starts about 6 foot, 8 foot behind where the camera is now. And that will really kind of start to be that
woodland floor.
Yeah, the woodland floor, but surrounded by that kind of, I hate saying jungly because it's your thing, but that kind of tropical vibe of maybe getting a couple of palms on either side as you're coming in, and like you say, once the tetrapanax grows, and I'm going to get maybe a couple more to go on either side, and just start to have that bigger leaf approach. So, like you said, when you come out of the conservatory, you look at the back of the garden and you think,
what's behind there?
What's that? What's that up there? Like, and then obviously the backdrop will be the shack, which will be hopefully really good.
That's what is important with a woodland or rainforest, jungle, however you want to put it. That's what's important. I think the mysterious. I'm trying to think of the best way of putting
it. The element of mystery.
The element of mystery, basically, like you say, from looking from the house up to the top of the garden and not quite knowing what's there, and having to, like I've done with my boardwalks, you never quite know what's around the next boardwalk. Although it's quite a small area, I mean, my jungle area is probably not too much bigger than what this is now. So it'd be nice to work with you, having done it myself and having doing it myself as well. Try and like you say, close off the immediate view. Give it a little bit. So people like go, oh, what's that? Exactly, a teaser. And then maybe you could have a path, meandering round. And then I don't know where you're planning on putting the door or the entrance to the cabin.
So it'll be here. So the door will be here,
So you can almost put a window on this side here.
Out to the green bit as well.
Out to the garden as well. I mean, that there, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but that's also got a woodland feel to it as well, isn't it? The same on this side as well. So wherever you put your windows or your doors, it's almost a 360, especially when the tetrapanics and your other plants here, this side, have closed in. You're going to be really immersed in woodland jungle.
So I was in my mind's eye again. You get a vision, don't you, for how you want the garden to look. And I think this back end, I want it a little bit closed off, but in my head, I want it to still have that cottage feel, but with a difference. So I wanted, like the white.
Absolutely no chance.
Yeah, trust me, it's coming. You're going to hate this idea, but like the old. It's not called a picket fence because they're the really low ones, aren't they? But like a picket fence style cottage gate / fence. Do you know what I mean? Like
I know what you're saying. I don't
slatted,
how you're going to pull that off. I'm not quite sure, but it'd be interesting to see.
yeah, not pristine white, obviously like a rustic, shabby white fence. You know, like almost like you haven't seen Peter Rabbit, have you? You know, like you know, like Beatrix Potter Peter Rabbit books, the idyllic country cottage with the tall white picket. I'm calling it a picket fence, but you know what I mean, don't you? That classic cottage fence outside the cottage, almost like that, slats in between.
You want that in front of the.
So I want that as you're coming up into the entrance area of this back sort of jungly, tropical kind of shack area. Have that with some cottagey plants, maybe some evergreen shrubs and stuff outside. So it's a total sort of juxtaposition, opposite, however you want to put it, of each other as you're entering it. And it kind of, for me, it's going to be like, right, it might not work.
It's a crazy idea, but I'm really intrigued as to whether you can pull it off or not. But I'd like to see you give it a go.
I'll give it a go. And I think we've said this a million times. Gardening's about you, isn't it? And what you want.
If you're happy with your garden, that's what matters. You know, it doesn't have to work. No, you know, you shouldn't have to care what people think about your garden. If you're happy there, and you know you're growing the plants that you want to grow, and they're happy as well.
If the plants are growing, like I say, if the plants are growing and they're happy, then and you're getting what you want out of it, which is the most important thing. Because if you're 100%. Not enjoying it, what's the point?
There's no point gardening for somebody else.
No.
In your own garden.
No.
It's absolutely pointless.
And we've spoken to gardeners, I'm sure you have, we both have, about when gardening becomes a job, people are in that environment where it's like for money, you're earning it, that enjoyment goes.
Yeah.
But because we do it as a hobby, we've both got other jobs, we do it as a complete hobby, just enjoy it and try new things, innit? And I've got the space, luckily we've got the space to try new things, and I haven't got the time, I was going to say I've got the time, I haven't got the time. I'm going to make time to make sure that I can do this and do it how I want it.
And do it properly. I think that's the main thing. If you do a half-assed attempt at it, you're not going to be happy with it, and it's going to look pants.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to, like you say, find the time. We're going to document it as well, so you guys can follow what we're doing.
It's a few months project, isn't it?
It's going to be a winter project.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. But it's definitely going to keep you busy.
It is. I mean, looking around me now, there's so much to do just to get to a point where it's almost like a blank canvas.
But the nice thing is, other than the lead up to it with the ensetes, the tetrapanics and the cannas, what we've got here, the ivy, the leylandis, the laurels, the pines, the oak's not evergreen, but the rest of it is evergreen. So even in the depths of winter, when you're trying to plan out what it's going to look like, it's all still here.
Yeah.
So you're going to get this, you know what it's going to look like, and you know when the oak comes out, that canopy forms, and that will complete it.
Yeah. And even when the oak leaves go, it's almost covered totally at the bottom here by ivy.
Ivy anyway.
And bits anyway.
And it's a pretty substantial tree, isn't it? Yeah. So I mean, branch-wise, the branches must take out quite a lot of light.
Yeah. No, we're really lucky to have the space, but I really can't wait to get going on it. It's exciting. It's just having that time to do it, isn't it? But we'll find it, and like I say, we'll document it every step of the way as well. So all right, and then so if you can join us again soon, I think we're going to do Project Shack at yours at some point, aren't we? Yeah.
So the plan is, I mean, you guys have been following us for a while now, so you've probably seen where my shack is / bar. The bar's it's not working. It's not been used for the last 2 summers. So we're going to rethink it. I think we're going to take the bar out and maybe keep it as a seating area. But what I want to do is probably open up the shed itself. So take away 1, maybe 2 full sides of the shed to open it up. So you'd still have the canopy, but open it up to the jungle. So you still got the undercover seated area. Just lose the bar, because it's, again, it's a shed that's probably, I think it's probably 8 by 10, so it's a fair size.
It's a decent size.
That isn't getting used right the way through the summer as well. And I don't really want to take it down because I've planted in and around it and over it, so it's kind of its own feature. Yeah,
you can't take it down.
But it's just it's finding out the best way to utilise it.
The thing is, it's such a great space, and when I love it, don't I? Like when I sit in there, and we do the podcast from there as well, don't we? Like we've done a couple from there, quite a few. And it's such a lovely space to sit and relax. And when you're looking out, It's such a great space.
I think you'll still get that as long as I don't take away too much. I think the roof is important, and I think the back sides are important.
Yeah.
But I think taking out one side and, you know, opening it up to that jungle view when you're sat there and all you can see is the jungle, because you can't see anything else. There's no houses, there's no nothing. It is literally the jungle that you'll see. And I think when it's raining, I mean, we spent a lot of time in the rain last weekend
trying to record podcasts as well, and it's
yeah, maybe the podcast will have to be moved to your cabin.
yeah.
But I think it'll work. There's no harm in trying, because I can always repair what I've taken out. So
yeah. No, that's good. So yeah, we'll be doing plenty of shorts over the next week, 10 days, and we'll be doing another feature length one this week as well. So whether it's probably by the weekend, I'd say 6-7 days time. So yeah, please do subscribe to the channel. We're nearly at 2,000 now, which is fantastic. A few hundred even in the last few weeks, which has been really great. And yeah, just continue to follow our journey. Hit subscribe, like, share it. Give us a comment. We'll always comment back to everyone's messages and stuff. So yeah, we really appreciate your support, and we will catch you again very soon. See you later.
See ya.